The soft girl era, when survival becomes sacred. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, where high achieving Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French, and I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I want to share something with you that came from a conversation that fundamentally altered the way I see strength, survival, and what it truly means to heal. I had the opportunity to interview Jessica Signal, a single Black mother raising 7 children and a grandchild, walking by faith through unimaginable childhood trauma. Jessica is the Black sheep in a fractured family, a warrior who survived foster care, abuse, neglect, a third-degree burn from a candle in the dark, and the kind of pain that most people bury so deep they forget it's there. But Jessica didn't bury it. She's writing a book this year to reach others like her, others who struggle daily trying to raise their own families and give their kids a better life than they ever had. Jessica is making the world a better place by refusing to let her story end in silence, by choosing to transform her trauma into a roadmap for healing, and by standing boldly in her truth so that others can find the courage to stand in theirs. And what she shared with me during our interview is the foundation of what I want to talk about today. Because here's the truth we don't say out loud enough. We've been taught that survival is strength, that silence is dignity, that carrying trauma without complaint is what makes us worthy. And for Black women, especially those of us who've been labeled the Black sheep, the difficult one, the one who didn't fit the mold, this lie has been suffocating us for generations. Let me be clear. The myth that Black women, especially single mothers from broken homes, are supposed to just tough it out silently is not just outdated, it's dangerous. It's killing us slowly, quietly. And we've been complicit in our own erasure because we believed that speaking our pain made us weak. Jessica Signal told me something during our interview that I can't stop thinking about. She said the strong Black woman trope means bearing trauma from family dysfunction, abuse, and neglect without therapy or talk. She called herself the Black sheep, carrying scars like her burn and unspoken molestation, yet pushing forward daily. And I asked her, why do you see this belief as wrong? And her answer was simple but devastating because it ignores how intergenerational trauma doesn't vanish with grit alone. It festers, it beats you up daily without closure. Think about that for a moment. Trauma doesn't disappear because you're strong, it doesn't evaporate because you're faithful. It doesn't dissolve because you're busy raising 7 kids and trying to keep your head above water. It stays, it grows, it multiplies, and it gets passed down to the next generation unless we have the courage to name it, to face it, to heal it. Jessica's story mirrors data that should terrify us. Black Americans face 20% higher rates of depression and anxiety, yet we seek treatment less due to stigma, provider bias, and this myth that we're supposed to be superhuman. Only 4% of psychologists are Black. 4%. So even when we do reach out, we're often met with providers who don't understand our cultural context, our historical trauma, our lived reality. And so we stay silent. We stay stuck. We stay surviving instead of thriving. But here's where the disruption begins. Jessica is publishing a book this year. She's focusing on herself. She's reaching out to others like her. She's giving her kids a better life than she ever had. And in doing so, she's dismantling the lie that we have to tough it out alone. Let me share 3 stories with you. 3 women who refused to let trauma define them. 3 women who chose softness over survival. 3 women who proved that vulnerability is not weakness, it's the path to freedom. First, Oprah Winfrey, born into rural Mississippi poverty to a teenage single mother, molested by family relatives from age 9, ran away at 14 after pregnancy loss, felt like the black sheep in a fractured home with absent father figures. Can you imagine? A child abandoned by the very people who should have protected her, navigating a world that told her she was worthless. But Oprah didn't accept that narrative. She channeled her pain into education and a faith driven work ethic. She sought therapy later in life, understanding that healing wasn't a sign of weakness, but a necessary step toward wholeness. She built her empire through honest storytelling, creating space where others could share their truths without shame. She transformed trauma into billions in wealth, launched Harpo Productions, and shattered silence on abuse with raw interviews that healed millions. She normalized Black women's mental health conversations, inspiring stigma busting movements, and her Leadership Academy for Girls echoes the mission of giving kids better lives. Oprah's story directly mirrors Jessica's abuse, single motherhood, and book publishing resolve to help others. She released the cape, she redefined strength, she embraced healing in real time. Second, Iyanla Van Zant, a Black single mother from Brooklyn who survived foster like instability and abuse to become a life coach, authoring bestsellers on family healing. She was a teenage mother at 16, endured domestic violence, homelessness, and black sheep rejection in a drug riddled family haunted by unspoken trauma. Imagine being 16, holding a baby in your arms with nowhere to go and no one to turn to. Imagine the weight of that isolation, that fear, that constant question of whether you and your child would survive another day. But Iyanla didn't give up. She embraced spirituality and therapy, wrote acts of faith to process pain, and focus on herself amid dysfunction to raise her daughters better. She built a coaching empire, gained closure, and turned hurt into tools for others' resilience as an entrepreneur. She penned over 15 books, starred in Fix My Life, dramatically mending Black families on TV, reaching millions with warrior truths. She shifted Black mental health dialogues, reducing stigma through culturally attuned advice, and influenced community programs for trauma survivors. Yanla's story echoes Jessica's foster pain, single mom struggles, and book ambitions for struggling parents. She protected her peace as a practice. She turned her purpose beyond pain into something sacred and supportive for others. Third, Taraji P. Henson, Washington, D.C. born actress and entrepreneur who navigated Black sheep status as a single mother from a broken home scarred by violence. She grew up in poverty with abusive family dynamics, raised her son alone post breakup, and battled depression from unprocessed childhood trauma and strong woman pressures. Picture this: a young woman in her 20s, working multiple jobs, auditioning for roles that never came, all while trying to provide for her son and keep the lights on. The world told her she wasn't enough, that she should give up, that her dreams were too big for someone like her. But Taraji refused to believe the lie. She pursued acting on faith, sought therapy to confront neglect like pains, and built businesses like TPH Hair while prioritizing mental health. She achieved Oscar nominated success, healed family rifts, and her son thrived, proving Black sheep can rewrite legacies. She starred in Empire and Hidden Figures, launched a beauty line, blazing trails from hood struggles to Hollywood power, voicing mental health openly. She advocated for Black therapy access, inspiring entrepreneurs to break silence on trauma, and boosted representation in media and business. Taraji's story captures Jessica's daily faith walk as a single Black mom with hidden scars, pushing self focus. She embraced softness, she let go of hustle as identity. These three women, Oprah, Iyanla, Taraji, they all did something radical. They chose to be soft in a world that taught them survival. They released the cape. They redefined strength. They embraced healing in real time. They protected their peace as a practice. And they turned their purpose beyond pain into something sacred and supportive for others. And that's what Jessica Signal's doing right now. She's in her soft girl era, not because she's given up, not because she's weak, but because she's finally choosing herself. She's finally saying, I matter. My healing matters. My story matters. And I'm going to use it to help others. During our interview, Jessica shared three key lessons that I want you to carry with you. First, embrace vulnerability as strength. Sharing scary pasts like abuse and burns breaks the silent cycle, allowing closure and better lives for your kids. It's not weakness, it's the path to thriving as a single mom entrepreneur. Second, faith fuels redemption. Like her dad's late love for grandkids, lean into spiritual walks to heal family black sheep wounds, turning daily challenges into purposeful steps, like her upcoming book. Third, prioritize self amid dysfunction. Family may favor the next over you, but focusing on you, reaching struggling parents, builds legacies that outlast pain. Now, imagine if more people and organizations adopted this perspective. Imagine if Black leaders and organizations rejected the tough it out myth and adopted raw sharing of Black sheep trauma through books and talks. Data shows stigma drops with culturally competent care, cutting depression by addressing minority stress. Families heal, kids get better lives, slashing mental health disparities, where Black folks represent 20% of challenges despite being 13% of the population. Communities empower faster, birthing more resilient entrepreneurs from pain. This is the soft girl era. This is the sacred pause Black women have been waiting for. It's not a trend, it's a lifestyle rebellion, a deep exhale from the Superwoman script, a quiet but powerful return to softness, rest, self trust, and radical joy. Jessica Signal said something during our interview that I want to leave you with. She said, I just thank God that I was placed in the foster home so I would know what I know now when I came home at 17 and a half. I didn't know nothing. Family still wasn't the same. My dad's side, immediate family, has always been there for me, but you know your mother, that you always be closer to them. But that side of the family is so dysfunctional and have its ways. I said this year I will be publishing my book and don't care who I told I stepped on, focusing more on me. This road is not easy. To reach out to others like me that struggle daily trying to raise their own family and give their kids a better life than they ever had. So here's my challenge to you today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. I want you to stop pretending that silence protects you. I want you to stop believing that carrying trauma alone makes you strong. I want you to stop waiting for permission to heal, to rest, to choose yourself. Write down one unspoken family scar today, just one. The thing you've never said out loud, the thing that wakes you up at 3 in the morning, the thing that makes you feel like the black sheep, the difficult one, the one who doesn't belong. Write it down and then share it safely with someone you trust, a therapist, a friend, a journal, a voice note to yourself. Just get it out of your body and into the light. Start your book, start your closure. Start giving yourself the softness you deserve because your kids are watching, your community's watching, and they need to see that healing is possible, that softness is sacred, that choosing yourself is not selfish, it's survival. The soft girl era isn't about giving up, it's about waking up. It's about recognizing that the cape you've been wearing is crushing you and you have the power to take it off. It's about understanding that your trauma doesn't define you, but your courage to face it does. It's about believing that you are worthy of rest, of joy, of peace, of love, not because you've earned it by suffering, but because you are human and you deserve it simply by existing. So I'm asking you right now in this moment, what are you going to do differently? What cape are you going to release? What boundary are you going to set? What truth are you going to speak? What softness are you going to embrace? Because trauma doesn't define you. Faith and voice redeem you, and your soft girl era is waiting for you to step into it without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. The world needs your healed version more than it needs your suffering version. The world needs your soft power more than it needs your silent strength. The world needs you whole, rested, joyful, and free. So take off the cape, write your story, heal your wounds, choose yourself, and watch how your life and the lives of everyone around you transform in ways you never thought possible. This is your invitation. This is your permission. This is your moment. Step into your soft girl era. The world is waiting.